Good morning. Have a few minutes before I really change all my clothes into my farmer clothes and go weed eat the front and then try to plant some things. How are you this morning? It is Friday, April 10th. You've got, 5 days before you have to turn in your taxes, pay your taxes. I have $12 I owe the state. I received $76 back from federal. Oh, yay. And on the computer this morning, I'm in a little better mood than I was yesterday, but not much. I slept so good and so sound. This body needed to rest. I went to bed relatively early last night and slept very sound. I don't even think I moved. My body hurt so bad from yesterday's nonsense. I wasn't real sure I was even going to recover. In this lighting, we can see how the gray is coming in. Not real sure how I'm feeling about it. I will deal with my hair at some point today, maybe, or maybe I'll wait till Sunday. I don't know. I'm in this very lackadaisical type mood, but I want to tell you what I've been doing this morning because you know I've been on the computer doing work, trying to. I'm Kitryn Marie, reside in St. Louis, Missouri, an artist, writer, speaker, life and business coach, teach a variety of art and communication classes, lend my hand in the restaurant industry 32 years, and I'm trying to get out of it quickly and very fast. And been looking to completely jump ship and change careers. Leaning towards the Farmers Market Association, program director, vendor relations. Let me see if I can pull up because I have narrowed it down to such a specific lane. And honestly, if I lived in Bentonville, Arkansas, which is on my sites of places I want to go visit, it's where Walmart was developed, came about, Mr. Walmart. But anyway, they have my role. They have the job. Also, there was one in Washington, the state, which is a little out of my area. I want to stay basically in Missouri. I want a field kind of job. And I'm going to pull it up. So give me a minute. I shouldn't have gotten rid of it here on my computer this morning, but this is what I've been doing. But what do you do when you know the lane that you want to work in and you know the position so well, like it's second skin? Let's see if this is going to pull up. I'm watching the Ups guy deliver. Where are we at here? You have to be able to know what your skill set is, and you have to be able to know how good you are at what you are wanting to do. And because event coordinating was really my background a long, long time ago. Okay, vendor relations, field presence, storytelling and coordination, and agriculture systems thinking. So, I had applied, I think I told you, for the Missouri Farmers Market Association. They were looking for someone who could handle their new seedling program. Dealing with farmers who were, new farmers who were wanting to get involved with the farmers market, wanting to bring their product, their produce to a new area. That was part of the job that I applied for. What was the other thing? Sorry. I'm not very organized. I'm very tired this morning. I am determined to go work in my yard, though. market manager, handle volunteer coordinating, assistant manager, those type of roles, vendor coordinating, but I only want to do it in the farmer's market realm. Agriculture, growth in seedling operations, ranching, so on and so forth. Rural America. And so this morning I'm looking on the Missouri agriculture site, looking for different jobs, and any young men that are out there that want to get involved in farming on the operational side. There are so many grain operator positions open. The position pays extremely well. It is also a very dangerous type entity. There are so many grain operator jobs, and come to find out, the turnover is really high and strong. I would imagine that would be like on the oil rig, which I told you I fell down that rabbit hole. Did I tell you that's that? You know, my next book, Seaside Shore, maybe I didn't. My next book, I'm writing Seaside Shore. He's an offshore oil rig driller, runs a crew in the middle of wherever. Excuse me. So anyway, I guess I had listed something. Well, anyway, on TikTok, it got me down that whole algorithm of oil riggers. But that's a very high turnover job also. The other thing about the job that I'm trying to look for, it is really seasonal with some remote kind of things, which I'm okay about, because after my day yesterday dealing with the general public, I'm lucky I didn't come unglued, really. Okay, here, the Farmers Market Association. We're going to go back to here, because I'm going to read you exactly what the description is. The job description. Program manager to take our organization to the next level by expanding our annual conference, connecting with Missouri produce organizations, increasing the number of produce vendors at our Missouri farmers markets. The program manager will execute specialty crop block promotion program. Generally entails fruits and tree nuts, because that's a whole other line in itself. Missouri in itself is trying to start this program where peanuts, pecans, walnuts are better introduced into the markets, and because of all of the peanut nut type allergies that have been introduced to our younger generations, and I have my own theory on why that was, because back in my day, nobody had a nut allergy. They might have been a little nuts, but they did not have a food nut allergy. You might want to look into all of those little extra vaccinations you're giving your children. That's all I'm going to say on that. But anyway, the specialty crops, vegetables, culinary herbs and spices, medicinal plants, as well as nursery, floriculture, honey, and horticulture crops. Working with the board of directors, we have a program opportunity that would be remote and part-time, which is right up my alley, because come January, I will start, I believe, collecting my Social Security, but I still want to work. I still have to work. There's a whole list, and I have sent my resume off. I've contacted different people. This is my lane. In order for me to move out of this house into a whole different direction, I need to be involved with the Missouri Farmers Market Association group. I want to be able to be in the field. I want to storytell. I want to content create. I want to introduce new produce into these fields. So if anybody is watching and anybody knows anybody that knows somebody, give them my name. But anyway, this is what I have been, working on. Farmers market management, event planning, local food, public health, customer service, food service. With my food service background, 32 plus years, I know more about the restaurant industry than most people really know. But it's like getting into these little rural areas, getting my foot in the door, especially because I can write and I can speak. This is the job for me. So, Missouri Farmers Market Association, please reach out to me because I want this position. I want this position. And there would be no better position made for me than this. Part-time didn't pay very much, but the program director in itself makes anywhere from $70,000 to $90,000 a year. I think I could live on that. Couldn't you? But anyway, this is what I've been working on. And I've been kind of like keeping it under wraps because it's a crapshoot. I wonder how many other people have applied for this position because it is a specific market. So, fingers crossed, maybe I'll hear something, maybe I won't. But if you do not try, you will never know. And if you do not ask, the answer is always going to be no. And because I'm so hell-bent on changing my position in life at this later point in life, you are never too late, it is never too old, and you must be willing to take the risk. You must. It's never a failure if you continue to try, because eventually all the things that you were trying, they're going to fall into place. And that's a little bit of business coaching strategy. So anyway, that's what kind of I've been working on. So we will see. Neighbor dropped off some more little plants. I think I'm going to put them in pots today. You know, to get your hand in the dirt. It's really, really good therapy for you. Let me get X out of these. Let me X out of this. What was the other thing? Oh, remember yesterday I was talking about autopilot and how my brain was starting to get really confused yesterday? And I was going over some psychology things this morning because I am relatively more intelligent than what most people have ever given me credit for. But there were some things that I was going over that really, really made sense. And anybody who kind of goes into autopilot mode because you know your job so well, you can do it in your sleep. When the system is broke, trying to pull up what I was reading on that. When the system is broke, it will not matter how much you are running on autopilot. Because autopilot says, you know the system, you know how it works, you know how you personally function in it. But when the system is broke and there is no structure, there are no boundaries, there is no policy, your autopilot will not work. And the system that you are used to working in will no longer align with the broken program that you are trying to work within. And that is exactly what happened and what has been happening. And when you are relatively aware and very cognitively intelligent, you start to notice the patterns that are broken. And that is why you no longer can work in that kind of chaos and frenzy, especially when you have other people who are dealing with their own mental frailties, OCD, ADHD, any spectrum of the tisms. They all function in that chaos and frenzy because they make that outside nonsense work for them because they do not have a structure. Okay, I'm trying to find what I was reading this morning because this may make a lot more sense than what I'm trying to do at the moment. And I'm really just kind of gearing up. I don't know what time is it. It is 10:30. I'll get outside in about an hour. I think it's supposed to rain here in St. Louis, Missouri. Okay, where am I at? Okay. Okay, this is what yesterday basically I was kind of dealing with and why I have such a hard time functioning when something no longer aligns with me. And maybe I've done this my whole life. If it does not agree with me and I am seeing a repetitive pattern of toxic, I don't want to be in the environment. Also knowing I spent 8 years in an environment that was so detrimental to my health. And then when one of my own customers threatened, I won't say bodily harm, but flailing a weapon all over the place, it was time to go. Well, I'm not in that structure right at the moment, but I'm seeing patterns of toxicity that I no longer am aligned with, especially if I'm not making any money. Okay, so this is what I'm noticing. No operational structure, no contingency planning, no floor control, and management is reactive and not directive. Now you think of that in your own work environment. Okay, put yourself in that position. What are you noticing in the environment in which you are working? Okay, what I'm recognizing is here's the system, this is how it is running, and I'm trying to figure everything out while everything else is still running amongst, this chaos. It is cognitive overload. More than anything, it is a role fragmented. So, my brain is trying to complete a process, and before the next loop even hits, it's not connecting, and that's what it is. So I'm in a chaotic pattern that has no stability, and that's where the misalignment is, because I guess I am more structured than I even realize. And although I can live by the seat of my pants in that rushed type environment, when the bottom is dropping out, nobody can function in it. And it shows. It shows in every aspect of the business that you are working in. And that is what I am trying to lean out of, because this is just pure madness. And maybe that's what's causing all the gray. I don't know. Literally chaos with no pattern stability. And my brain yesterday just couldn't lock in. What about you? What are you focused on? Let's do some life coaching. I probably should get a little more comfortable. Oh, my knee. What are you focused on? How is the structure in your life? And how are you living amongst the frenzy and chaos that you're being asked to deal with? And how are you matching and meeting that chaos and that frenzy? I went down that whole blue collar rabbit hole too in the last couple of weeks on TikTok. I'm amazed at how the algorithm really picks up on what you're talking about and asking, and how things are viewing, and no telling what will show up on any of my feed, because I know my phone or whatever is programmed into listening. Blue collar, let's just talk about this for a second, because there are tools that are involved with whatever your trade is. And oftentimes that structure, you will lay all your tools out because you know what you have to work with. There is a pattern. If you are doing a specific job, and I don't know any specific jobs, like actual, you do this, A, B, C, D, but let's say you need to do A, and there is a tool that matches A. And then when you were finished with A, and you need to go on to that next task, you grab tool B, and so on and so forth down that line, and you have all of your tools all laid out because you know the job you have to do. You know, in order to start it, get to the midpoint, check to see if you've gotten from A to F and everything is working, then you continue to conclude what the project is. Now, you are so focused, so tunnel visioned on getting your job done based on the structure that you need to do to finish the project, to get it approved, to get it passed by a code. By the time you are done with your day, if you have multiple jobs like that, this isn't an all-day kind of, you get your tools, you assess the job, and it takes you all day to do A to C. This is, you've gone from A to Z 6 times during the day because you are on autopilot. Then, by the end of the day, because you are fueled by candy, coffee, quick trip runs, energy drinks, you haven't had time to eat, you're on a structure, you're dealing with other contractors, you are, now remember, I'm down this blue collar rabbit hole right now. A lot of it has to do with the book the second book I'm writing, but this is the path that I am on. So you've done this 6 times. You're fueled by high sugar. You're already dealing with people you don't want to deal with, but in order to do your job, by the end of the day, you are so on overload from the chaos, the combination of energies of people who probably shouldn't even be on the job sites. You are working in a pattern of no stability, and you were trying to be the one to do the job, to do it correctly, because it is ingrained in your being. Execute the job. Get it done correctly. So by the time the task is completed, the day is over, you've put all your tools away, you've cleaned everything, you've gotten yourself ready to clock out because you have given more time and more energy to your job. What are you doing when you clock out? How are you unwinding? How are you having downtime? How are you regulating your system that is on overload, on breakdown, on, I don't know, what's the other, autopilot failure? What are you doing? And how is that affecting your relationship? You can be on time to your job. You can clock in at the time that you need to. But what are you doing to rush home? And can you rush home? What is so important outside of your home where you feel you can't come home and have downtime and unwind and decompress from the day? I feel like I got a frog in my throat now. I'm talking way too much. How much of your home life is chaos? And you are avoiding going home because of that chaos. And what are you doing to the person that you are involved with when she's also worked? She's had her day of nonsense. She's looking for a little peace and quiet. She's looking for some common ground of stability, some peace. And you're coming home all strung out and frustrated from your day because that is your job, that is your income, that is your paycheck. because that is what you are driven to see. That is all you can see, is that paycheck at the end of the week. Where in my turn, who I am, if it is not aligning with who you are, what your real gift is, what you are really contributing to, and how is what you think you are doing correctly to earn that paycheck, how is it debilitating yourself, your emotions, your mental capabilities, your physical health, and how is it destroying the relationship that you are in? Because nothing is aligning. Nothing is aligning. You have set yourself up for this crazy, miserable comfort zone. And where in the end is the resolve? Where is it? And what good is it to escape Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to go back to Monday, to continue in that downward position you have put yourself in because you have chosen to suffer? You have told yourself if there is no pain, you're not gaining anything. You know, what is the saying? No pain, no gain. You know, you've told yourself if you are not miserable, you are not accomplishing anything. If you are, well, how do I want to say this? You look at your strength, you look at your abilities by how much torture and torment you can do to your body and to your family and to whomever else is in your world, and escaping those weekends, you're sleeping life away, you're not eating any better, but you got that paycheck. Yay, yeehaw. You know, and I can probably bet you touch your tools a lot more gently than you touch the woman that's involved in your life. You respect more on the tools that are helping you do your trade, your craft, than the tools that you need to build with for the partner that you're involved with. Now, on the female aspect of that, you know, I teach those things in my vision board class when we talk about healthy relationships and the intimacy that gets built. You know, and the different biorhythms of men and women and how they want intimacy. We talk about all those things. But it seems, you know, because I've been watching the analytics on my YouTube channel, there are more men that are watching this channel than there actually are women, which I find kind of odd, because I lean towards teaching creative-minded women who want these better lives. But so, as I am looking to be better aligned with a new trade, going into a whole new procedure of working, because I have to work the next 20 years of my life, because I am hoping at some point to recouple back up with somebody who wants the same things that I do, understanding whatever your job is, how has it destroyed your relationship, and what have you done to sabotage that relationship that you are in. She does not need to tolerate your bullshit, because that is how you function in chaos and in the toxicity of your position. But I'm Kitryn Marie, reside in St. Louis, Missouri, an artist, writer, speaker, life and business coach, published author, When He Had Her, available on Amazon, working on my second book, Seaside Shore. You know, be happy, be blessed, you know, say a prayer, you know, talk to your higher power. What is meant for you is not going to go past you. Understand how you are looking at your job, how you are looking at your projects on your job, because you want to be good at what you do. And then when you are looking at your home life, look at the tools that you are needing to build the life that brings the both of you together, being on the same page, being aligned in the same path. You know, you want growth, you want progress. You don't want anything else that's going to sabotage and break down the connection that you know you desperately need in your life. For today, for tomorrow, be happy, be blessed, be thankful for everything. Remember, fate turns on a dime, and it is up to you to decide what side of the coin you want to be on. Reach out, kitrynmarie@gmail.com, if you are interested in taking a painting class, if you want to learn how to put a vision board together based in life coaching, if you want to be business coached, how to start your side hustle so you too can lean out of 9 to 5, learning more about your gifts and your talents and how to monetize what you know how to do, not working for a corporate structure. You know, when you learn what you are really good at and what is second skin and what you can do to make money on autopilot, dealing with the things that you need to deal with in order to make money because you are aligned with what is out there for you. But y'all take care. I will be in my yard working today, and I think stuffed peppers is on the menu for tonight. So take care, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.